Helene Schjerfbeck is one of Finland's most celebrated painters, renowned for her unique style and remarkable ability to capture human emotion. Born in Helsinki on July 10, 1862, Schjerfbeck's life and work were deeply influenced by her early experiences, physical struggles, and the rapidly evolving art movements of her time. Her journey as an artist began at a young age and is a testament to resilience, self-discovery, and an unrelenting passion for her craft. Helene's childhood was marked by both promise and adversity. She was born into a middle-class family, and her father, Svante Schjerfbeck, worked as a railway station manager. Tragedy struck early when her father passed away from tuberculosis in 1876, leaving the family in financial hardship. Helene's own health challenges began even earlier. At the age of 4, she suffered a hip injury from a fall, which led to long-term mobility issues. These physical limitations shaped much of her life, isolating her from many social and physical activities, yet giving her the time and space to focus on art. Her talent for drawing was evident from a young age. At just 11 years old, she was accepted into the Finnish Art Society Drawing School in Helsinki, an institution typically reserved for older students. There, she honed her skills in academic drawing and painting, quickly establishing herself as a prodigy. Her early works, heavily influenced by realism, reflected her keen observation and technical precision. Helene's artistic development was further enriched by her exposure to European art. In 1880, at the age of 18, she received a travel grant to study in Paris, which was then the epicenter of the art world. At the Académie Colarossi, she was introduced to Impressionism and the works of masters like Edouard Manet and Edgar Degas. This exposure broadened her stylistic range and introduced her to new techniques, including the use of light and color to evoke mood and emotion. During this period, Helene painted some of her most celebrated early works, including The Convalescent, 1888, which won a bronze medal at the 1889 Paris Exposition Universelle. This painting reflects her interest in capturing quiet, introspective moments, a theme that would persist throughout her career. Despite these achievements, Schjerfbeck struggled with self-doubt, often feeling overshadowed by her male contemporaries and the competitive nature of the Parisian art scene. Her return to Finland in the 1890s marked a turning point in her life and career. The move was partly motivated by financial difficulties and health issues, which made it challenging for her to sustain a career abroad. Back in Finland, she initially continued to work in the realist tradition, but her style began to evolve, becoming increasingly personal and modernist over time. She also took on teaching roles, including a position at the Finnish Art Society Drawing School, though she found the work exhausting and eventually retired to focus on her painting. The death of her mother in 1923 marked another pivotal moment in Helene's life. Having lived with her mother for much of her adult life, the loss left her both bereft and liberated. It was during this period that she retreated to the countryside, seeking solace and creative renewal. This shift to a quieter, more introspective existence allowed her to fully explore her evolving style, characterized by abstraction, minimalism, and a focus on psychological depth. By the early 20th century, Schjerfbeck had moved away from the strict realism of her earlier years, developing a modernist approach that prioritized emotion over technical precision. Her later portraits, particularly her self-portraits, reveal a bold experimentation with form, color, and texture. These works capture not only the physical features of her subjects, but also their inner lives, offering a profound commentary on aging, mortality, and identity. In her later years, Helene Schjerfbeck's art evolved into a deeply personal and experimental expression of modernism. Although she had struggled with self-doubt and financial challenges for much of her early career, the early 20th century saw her achieving recognition and solidifying her place as one of Finland's most important artists. This chapter of her life highlights her artistic maturity, her growing reputation, and the profound legacy she left behind. The 1910s marked a period of transformation for Schjerfbeck. By this time, she had retreated to the Finnish countryside, first to Hyvinkää and later to Tammsaari, seeking both physical respite and artistic clarity. Removed from the distractions of urban life, she was able to focus entirely on her work, and this solitude became a fertile ground for innovation. Her style became increasingly minimalist and introspective, shedding the meticulous detail of her earlier realist works in favor of a simplified, almost ethereal approach. One of her most notable contributions to art during this period was her series of self-portraits, which she continued to create throughout her life. These portraits, which range from delicate early studies to haunting and abstract later pieces, serve as an unparalleled visual autobiography. As she aged, Schjerfbeck explored themes of mortality and self-perception with unflinching honesty. In these works, her face becomes a canvas for emotion, revealing vulnerability, strength, and an acute awareness of the passage of time. In the 1920s and 1930s, Schjerfbeck's reputation began to grow both in Finland and abroad. Finnish art circles, which had previously marginalized her work, started to acknowledge her unique vision. Key figures in the Finnish art world, including gallerist Gustav Stenman, championed her art, helping to bring her modernist style to a wider audience. Stenman not only organized exhibitions of her work, but also provided her with financial support, which allowed her to focus on her painting without the constant worry of income. Internationally, Schjerfbeck began to attract attention as well. Her work was exhibited in Stockholm, London, and Paris, gaining acclaim for its originality and emotional depth. Although she did not travel to see these exhibitions herself, due to her health, the growing recognition brought her a sense of validation. Critics and collectors praised her ability to blend modernist abstraction with an almost spiritual sensitivity. Despite her growing success, Schjerfbeck's later years were not without hardship. The outbreak of World War II brought new challenges, and she was forced to relocate several times due to the instability in Finland. Her health continued to decline, and she spent the final years of her life in a nursing home in Saltsjöbaden, Sweden. Even in her frailty, Schjerfbeck remained dedicated to her art, creating some of her most striking and minimalist works during this time. Helene Schjerfbeck passed away on January 23, 1946, at the age of 83. Her death marked the end of a remarkable career, but her influence has only grown in the decades since. Today, she is celebrated as one of Finland's most significant cultural figures, and her work has been the subject of numerous retrospectives and exhibitions worldwide. Schjerfbeck's legacy lies in her ability to transcend the conventions of her time. Her journey from a precocious young artist to a pioneer of modernism was shaped by her resilience in the face of physical and emotional challenges. She found beauty in simplicity and used her art to explore the depths of the human spirit. Through her self-portraits, portraits of others, and evocative still lifes, Schjerfbeck created a body of work that continues to resonate with audiences today. Her art speaks to universal themes of identity, aging, and the search for meaning, ensuring that her influence endures as a vital part of the global art narrative.